Here's today's feedback report, number 1.
Looking today at stomach velocity, what are your feelings?
The stomach velocity. It could be the genetic structure, the way they're built, the way their mother and father made them.
That could affect the stomach velocity?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Can you tell from people's faces if they've got an awkward stomach velocity?
I think you can, yeah.
What do you look for there?
Well, I think you can look for an odd look on their face, kind of sort of a tightness around the mouth or around the eyes.
Would the eyes move a bit?
I should imagine the eyes would discolour and probably close a bit, you know.
Can you think of anybody in the public eye who we see with an absurd stomach velocity?
The chairman of the Conservative Party right now.
If he was walking at 3 miles an hour, what velocity would his stomach have?
5 miles an hour right now.
So he's +2 on whatever he's doing?
Yeah.
What about if the stomach's going too slow and you're walking along at 3 miles an hour, your stomach's only going at 1?
I think you'd collapse after, you know.
In less than half a mile?
I should think much less, yeah, very, very much less. About 100 yards, you could collapse quite easily.
And whereas when the stomach is going too fast, the eyes are helter-skelter and the mouth is tight, what about when the stomach's going too slow?
I don't know, you sort of have to look at some of these retarded people, maybe, some of their expressions that's sort of dreamy and kind of everything is very nice.
But it shouldn't be that slow?
No, maybe not.
Or too fast that it starts pushing out the front of the shirt?
Absolutely, yeah.
Or disturbing the tie structure?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
If it started disturbing the tie structure, what advice would you give to somebody?
Well, I mean, they could be giving people the wrong impression, especially where ties are very important today. So, I mean, you've really got to keep this tie straight.
People tying knots in their faces, what do you think?
Well, obviously I'd say that they're totally disillusioned with society as they see it. And this is their method of showing it. But I do think that after a couple of years, they will regret having mutilated themselves.
Do you think the more knots, the worse?
Well, the bigger the number obviously displays a deeper resentment against society, I think.
Whereabouts do you think is the worst part of your face to have a knot?
I would say the lips.
Why would that be?
Well, the lips are so expressive of people. And even in, we say, a romance situation.
How would it affect a romantic situation to have a knot in your lips?
A very adverse effect.
Is it worse when people do it to each other or to themselves?
Well, if they do it to each other, I wonder if there's some form of kink sex involved.
We're looking today at spherical cattle, making them round. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
How would a spherical cow get around its pen?
Well, I should think you'd have to put some sort of netting round it to guide it.
So what's they could just get a grip on the net?
That's right. You couldn't leave it in the field or anything like that.
Well, imagine if it was in a pen and the water was at the other end of the pen and it was thirsty. How would it manage?
Well, can they smell it?
Well, I suppose it'd have a nose on the circumference.
Well, is it? They've got to have some sort of a smell of it.
Let's assume they have.
They roll to it.
They'd roll towards it?
Yeah.
How would they actually manage to make themselves roll?
Muscles. Their own muscle strength inside them.
Would it be better off with a leg?
Well, I should think so. It could walk along just like a chicken, 2 legs.
Unless the legs were opposite sides, and then it would have to go around like a sort of a broken line.
Well, it can go as a ball. If you had a ball and you put 2 legs to it, one either side with the ball.
Right, but if they were sticking out at the side, they'd be like sort of long, thin ears or something, and it would just bounce off the wall.
Yeah, well, then you're getting like something from outer space.
If you gave it 2 legs, would you have them side by side, or would you have them at opposite ends of the ball?
Side by side.
How far apart?
2 or 3 foot.
And what about if it was a milk cow?
There's a milk cow. Perhaps they might do a square one.
And if you saw a spherical cow and you had a gun about you, would you shoot it?
Yeah.
How do you feel about people tying knots in their face?
Well, if I think people tie knots in their faces, there must be something wrong with their brains.
I mean, maybe young people, their skin is a bit looser, more supple.
You stretch your skin, can you? I mean,
exactly.
It's proven, isn't it? Yeah. Like, if you tried it today and keep pulling at it, maybe next weekend you'd be able to tie a knot in it.
You'd pull your cheeks out and tie it right across in front of your nose.
Oh, yeah, right. You could do that, couldn't you?
Almost like the front of a balaclava or something.
Stretch your ears and tie them across your eyes, couldn't you, really?
Why are they doing it? Why are they tying knots in their faces?
It ain't got nothing to do with getting a job, is it? A lot of them haven't got nothing to say, have they?
Do you think it's a lack of words which causes people to tie knots in their face?
Lack of political thinking.
So you would say that if you don't educate people, they're going to end up tying knots in their faces?
I would reckon so.
So if a student has 1 knot in their face, somebody who's studying for a degree, what about somebody who's just failed their O-levels? How many knots do you think they'd end up with?
Well, I suppose you're looking at half a dozen, really, aren't you?
What would be the worst kind of knot to tie in a face?
Well, weaver's knot, because you couldn't undo it again.
So you should do something that you can undo.
Either do a straightforward knot or a bow knot.
Is it worse if you tied in your own face or someone else's?
Their own face.
Even though if they were doing it on someone else, they might not know when to stop and they might be putting pain on that other person.
Well, it depends if the other person wanted it done.
But maybe they get to a point, if they were tying it in their mouth, where they couldn't actually say the word stop.
Are you talking about the person who's getting the knot put in?
Yeah. And maybe they thought it was a good idea to start off with, and then they'd arrived at a point where they thought, no.
Well, that's hard. That's
Would you say it's still better to tie a knot in someone else's?
Well, I would say so. As I said, if you put a difficult knot in your face and it's got very painful and you couldn't undo it, I mean, you're the one who's going to suffer the pain.
Imagine if you woke up with a knot in your face tomorrow morning.
I'd feel rotten.
Would you try and do something about it?
I would take myself to the nearest doctor.
Or say, untie this knot, please.
Well, if you can't undo it, cut it out or something.
Here's today's first feedback report. This is on the subject of the ephemeral dog, a tragic species which starts off as a puppy and then gets smaller.
What are your feelings about the ephemeral dog?
I think it's pretty disgusting.
Can you describe briefly what happens to the ephemeral dog in its tragic life?
It appears to grow smaller as it grows older.
Or it'd fall out of its lead, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes.
It will blow away on a strong breeze.
The whole thing becomes absurd in capital letters.
What typeface do you think?
Grotesque.
What about the effect of an ephemeral dog on a child?
Oh, I think it would be deadly. It would give a nightmares for the rest of his life, I should think.
Might send him to an early grave.
Send him to an asylum.
And this is quite serious, isn't it?
Oh, yes, I'm quite serious about it.
As a rule of thumb, what would you say would be the minimum size limit for a dog?
Well, a lap dog for
To lap?
around about a foot long or something like that is adequate, I should have thought.
Certainly not so small you could play tiddlywinks with it.
No, certainly not.
If you saw an ephemeral dog which had reached the final furlong of its wretched life, how would you comfort it as it faded?
I think I would kill it.
And as a memorial for the species, a few words.
Jesus wept.
Flat milk. Problems with flat milk. How do you feel?
Well, there's too much point in that.
What's wrong with flat milk, in your opinion?
It's not doing the job it's supposed to.
It's like a blind plumber with a big hammer who goes around smashing all your pipes.
Pardon?
However much you paid, it's not doing the job properly.
No, and I don't think that should be interfered with unless you're one of these people wants to slim, then you go into skim them. But flat milk,
That's just ridiculous, isn't it?
rubbish. Yeah.
Yes. How can you tell that the milk is flat?
Well, you know right away.
Just by looking at it?
Yeah.
What's the nutritional value of flat milk?
Oh, couldn't be very much.
Less than 5?
Yeah.
How can we stop milk's flatness?
You can't pump it up again.
You can't pump it up again?
No.
Not even if you had an extremely large compressor?
I shouldn't think so, no.
So you'd prefer your milk bumpy rather than flat?
And feedback reports, in case you don't know, sound like this.
Right, so we're looking today at vertical meat.
Yeah.
What problems would you have with your mouth?
Young people would choke on it, couldn't they?
What about people such as yourself? Would you have the experience to deal with vertical meat?
Yeah, what actually happens is that it gets in your throat and you can't, it stops your breathing.
With vertical meat?
That's right, yeah. And then it could choke you.
Yeah, and you could fall to the floor cursing and screaming and shouting.
Yeah, yeah.
Would that vertical meat come flying back out, do you think?
Might do.
Only if somebody gave you a sharp
Wallop, yeah.
in the Heimlich.
That's it.
How fast would it come out, do you think?
Or just like an arrow.
So how many miles an hour?
15, 20.
If you found out that vertical meat came from a vertical cow, would that make you feel worse about it?
Yeah, would, don't know.
What's the problem with a vertical cow?
Well, the point is that you don't know where it's been and the meat that you're going to have, you haven't got no idea what it's like.
Would you think it would be in pain, a vertical cow?
Yeah, not much, yeah.
I bet you. What is actually the correct angle for meat?
About 60 degrees, I should think.
And here's today's feedback report number 1.
Right, so we're looking today at wide face trouble. It does cause some difficulty, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
What happens if you get a lot of wide-faced people with faces considerably wider than their shoulders, overlapping and drooping down and so on, in one place?
I think they get aggressive.
What would happen there?
You'd have a collision all over, wouldn't it?
What, banging at the head level?
Yes.
Where would be the worst place for a large number of wide-faced people to conglomerate?
in a sort of a cul-de-sac, you know, for...
Facing which way, the blank end or the...
blank end.
And if you were in a window, say, overlooking it medieval style, what would you see?
Well, I might panic a bit, you know.
Panic, turmoil?
Yes, that's right.
What about the ones at the front who are being crushed by the white faces coming up behind them?
I think I just feel sad for them, really.
Would you offer up a prayer?
I probably said they are Father.
What about white-faced children taking exams? What problems could happen there?
Yes, that could be copying, you know, it's cheating, really. If they could look over the shoulders,
Well, with the width of their face?
Yes.
Let me just get to grips with this. When we're talking about wide-faced people here, do you imagine the face wide at the front and the head tapering to a point at the back, or parallel sides all the way through?
All the way through, I think.
So a wide face and a wide back to the head?
That's right.
What is a really bad width for a face?
I'd say it was any more than 3 foot wide to be properly dangerous.
And the ideal width for a face?
I'd say 2.
2
feet.